Always fun, crazy. It's painful, but it's wonderful. What is the name?
It's Reusse Unchained.
And Patrick, a rare Friday edition of Unchained.
Yes.
Because you've had a busy week, including spending the entire day, I think, on Monday at the fair. What is up?
Oh. Well, we had Armageddon for about 45 minutes yesterday. I thought the world was going to end, but it cleaned out and we got a beautiful weekend, I guess. So we deserve one of those, don't we? A non-humid, sunny, 78-degree weekend.
Yeah.
End summer. And the state fair certainly deserves it after. This has probably been about from Monday through Thursday. It had to be about the 4 worst days they've had, right? So congratulations to them, and looks like a good weekend. Did you hang in there till the end at the Gopher game last night?
Hell no. I left after the tailgate. Dawn had her fun. We came home. I watched the entire game.
That was first of all, let me say this about college football.
Yep.
The way they drag it out for television drives me insane. We now have added the 2-minute warning too, by the way, but we really needed that. But what really gets me is the 30-minute halftimes. The halftimes never end.
Yep.
Because I would imagine the Big Ten Network, but this is Fox. This should be different. But the Big Ten Network probably has better ratings at their halftime, when they're giving highlights and other scores at halftime than with the third string games that they're showing. But half times are, the NFL can drive you crazy, and we'll be back with the result of the review and everything. They do that intentionally, although now they're not. But they at least know that they got to get back to the football game in 20 minutes, right? They can't take 30, 35 minutes like they do. College football is ridiculous. It's the longest sport there is. What were we last night? About 3:35 or so?
3 something, yeah. And we started an hour late because of the storm.
Yes. And we also found out, once again, why they do call timeouts before a guy kicks a big field goal at the end of the game, because sometimes it seems ridiculous and silly that they do this every at all levels, basically. And we saw that last night, because if they let the guy kick it, he makes, don't you think?
Oh, the first time?
The second time. And then they give him at the end of the game, and then they give him a minute to think about it with the timeout. And he puts a little hook on it and misses it. And it was a well-deserved defeat by the Gophers. But then, if they'd won, it would have been a well-deserved defeat by North Carolina. Because I gotta say, for a 2-point game that came down to the last kick, it was one of the most boring events I've ever watched in my life. It was horrendous. Brosmer looked awful until the last series, when he didn't have to follow the playbook and could just look for open receivers. But he looked bad, and Brad Johnson's kid looked bad before he got hurt. But we found out why he was playing when the other guy came into the game.
You're right.
They were showing us on Fox that they had nobody deeper on that last drive than like 6 yards from the line of scrimmage, and they still wouldn't let this kid pass. They still wouldn't let him. They ran that one funky play down the sideline there, that little fake. But the only thing they would trust him to do was throw to a wide open receiver. They're going to be about 4-8 this year.
And when he ran, he fumbled. Like, I thought, okay, this kid can run, and he tried to run and he got stripped. Yes, and
he should have. They should have lost the ball right there. But he was. Is he a freshman or something? He looked terrified. He looked absolutely terrified. I don't know
what he is. But you're right. That was a boring game, and that was just the offenses were so pathetic.
Oh man, yeah, it looked like Iowa playing Iowa, didn't it? Last year, if Iowa had been playing itself, that's what it looked like. What did a lot of people leave or something? It looked like the crowd was pretty good at the start, and of course you didn't stay. So I don't know.
I left. I have no idea.
Somebody showed the upper deck, but then again, that there weren't many people there in the middle of the second quarter. But then they might have went to get a beer too. I don't know what they were doing, but But they, a lot of people there at the start, right? That's what I mean. They said they had
They got a
50,000
decent crowd,
tickets
yeah.
sold.
Well,
Yeah.
do the freshman students still get in for free?
I'm sure they do. They don't
Okay.
announce it like they used to, but that's a good idea. Why not? Now,
Yeah.
last year, I don't know if they got in for free because you had Nebraska.
Mm.
And that's when Coach Fleck was telling us that this is, bragging about selling out the opener. Remember that? It was Nebraska, dummy. You know, you can, it doesn't make any difference. They still think they're good after all these years. They haven't been to a bowl game in 6 or 7 years. That's impossible.
Oh, they have gone in the toilet for Nebraska. Yeah,
And
it's
how
been
many
terrible.
different coaches? Three? Well, Scott Frost, and I guess maybe just the whole Frost era. And
Oh no, but there was that
before, but
the
who
guy
was
that
before
coached the
him?
Chargers. What was it? Mike Riley?
Mike Riley.
He
That's
coached
right.
them for a while and was a complete disaster.
Yes.
And Frost was supposed to bring back, the
They
Nebraska
were,
football.
they were so happy that they got one of their own to come back, the backup quarterback on a great team. But yeah, they're not well. There were rumors Matt Rule was trying to get out this
Oh,
season,
I'm sure he
get
is.
back in the NFL. But now he's talking about how big expectations are, and we'll see. We'll see. It is astounding, though, how many coaches they've been. They fired Frank Solich when he was, what, 9-4 or 9-3, and they haven't recovered from that yet. So,
Yep.
anyway, but it was a bad football game. Wow. It was just
Aside from
boring.
your disdain for Fleck as just his press conferences and double
Yes,
talk,
and
how is he?
it's all on me.
How is a guy who, if I remember correctly, when he got the job here, right? Pete
Yes.
Thamel did a big thing on his offensive creativity
Yes.
and how great he is, and Pete's really well respected. How have we gotten to this point? Like he could be fired on offense alone. It's awful.
Oh yeah, yes, and it's kind of happened. I mean, the good team that had Blackman and was the other receiver. I mean, he had early on. He had teams with good receivers, and they were dynamic, and they went 11-2, right? And
Yeah.
I just don't know what happened to them that they're afraid to throw the ball. But I got guarantee you. First of all, they got 5 guys who are 320 or so on a line, right? They got this huge offensive line, which usually deems well for the passing game, doesn't it? I mean, they're supposed to be able to give you some protection, these big guys. But they might run more with this guy than they did with Calic Manis last year, the sinker baller. But after last night, when they get Darius Taylor back, they're going to be, they're going to run 50 times a game. But
Yeah, I agree.
And because they got this other back now too, there was a big, strong guy. Where did he come from? He transferred from
The
some
guy that played last night,
Yeah,
Oklahoma,
Oh.
and they've got
So
another Michigan State kid in here. I think they got like 3 transfers at that position behind Taylor.
Yeah, it is kind of odd that he is such a conservative offensive coach. The crowd went nuts right when they ran it on 3rd and 9. It sounded like they were not happy. There were boos fluttering down when they ran it on 3rd and 9 and took the field goal. Right?
Yes, and he was asked about that post game and tried to defend it by.
He was a little
Go ahead.
defensive. He was.
Yeah.
I saw that. He was a little defensive on that one. He wanted to get mad. He caught himself because he wanted to get mad. Who asked him the question? Do you know?
I think it was Andy Greeter of the Pioneer Press. Sounded like his voice.
That sounds like okay. Well, that sounds like something that Andy would ask him that question, which is good for Andy.
Right.
But yeah, he doesn't like to be second guessed. That's for sure.
And he leaves himself open for his play calls or the play calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody manages a game like he does, and that's not a
No.
compliment. Like
No.
a lot of things head coaches need to do well. I don't think in game he does them. He's
No, I agree.
He might
with
not be
you.
a disaster, but he's not good.
Yeah, he's not he's a recruiter and a salesman, but he's a mediocre recruiter, as it turned out, and we'll find out now. I wonder if somebody told me How much did they supposedly pay this group Brosmer? Have you seen anything on NIL? Somebody said they didn't pay this guy $1 million, did they? Well, hell no, they didn't pay him. The reason they got him is he's coming from New Hampshire. His probably NIL was 100,000 and whatever else he can make, right, on the side or something.
100,000 would be too much, by the way.
Yes, yeah, he's. Did you see though? New Hampshire misses him. Did you see New Hampshire? New Hampshire got edged 59-3 by Central Florida, so they didn't have their usual high-powered passing game. No, the problem though last night is not on that game, but on the. I think what I was listening to I watched the Rutgers game to see Calic Manis a little bit. They had Matt Millen. God, is he awful. As bad as he was as a GM, his disinterest in what he's doing now, he got stuck with college football. He wants to be on an NFL game. He can't make it. He's on college football. He made Calic Manis was okay against Howard. He is the big difference in this offense, he kept saying. I think the big difference is you're playing Howard. That's what the big difference is.
Yeah, that helps a little bit for Rutgers.
Yes.
Did you hear the fawning over Dion during the Colorado game?
No, it was bad. By the way,
Ugh.
I just saw a video. North Dakota State, I didn't see the play, but there was targeting on that last drive. They should have had 8 or 9 seconds more, and they should have been 20 yards closer to the,
I didn't see that.
end zone. Yeah, that was
Really
terrible, brutal, just helmet on helmet. And they let the clock run too for about 8 seconds, the referees. So North Dakota State, first half they moved the ball very well. Colorado got a little better the second half, but they're going to be 5-7 again this year. They're not. They're a little better defensively. What's he got? Like 60 transfers or something?
Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
I think that's right.
God, what a joke he is. This is his last year at Colorado, don't you think? As soon as this kid leaves, he'll do something else, don't you think? I don't know.
Who knows?
That place was full. That place was full last night, though. They apparently didn't watch the second half of last season when they were awful. It's just like they're still. Hey, I forgot that he was Sports Person of the Year, right? Wasn't he?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Sports Person of the Year.
They picked it in September,
and they didn't back off.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Back off. How embarrassing is that? That's the fact that Sports Illustrated is pretty much out of business now isn't as embarrassing as having him. Okay, we have all these photos. We did all the work. We're going to give it to him anyway, even though he had, I don't know. Did they go to a bowl game? They didn't win after. They didn't know. They didn't go to a bowl game, right? Because
they completely fell apart.
They ended up losing like 7 out of 8 or something like that down the stretch. So I don't know. College football, I was reminded why I hate it, just because of how long it lasts. The big time college football. I like D2, D3. I'll go watch that.
Sure.
And by the way, speaking of D2,
I know
right here on the KSTP Score North 1500 airwaves.
Yep.
What in the hell happened to St. Thomas?
That's your guy. You find out.
We used to, my high school basketball coach in Fulda, Vern Olson, was a graduate of Sioux Falls College. And he used to call it Sioux-Fu-Ku, was what they call Sioux-Fu-Ku. So I've always called it Sioux-Fu-Ku. Now it's the University of Sioux Falls now. But they were 3-9 last year in the Northern Sun, and I'm sure they had a good off-season recruiting because the year before that they were good. But St. Thomas had 4 first downs before their final possession. What in God's name happened? They hadn't lost at home, and they had the longest home streak in the country, 31 games. And in the regular season, it was like 60 or something. Unbelievable. I'm gonna give it to Caruso a couple of days to get over it, then go over and find out what in God's name that was about.
I saw that, and what's weird is since they joined D1, they've been pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's a non-scholarship. Of course, one of the differences is one of the differences is the D2 school has scholarships and they don't. So, as far as athletics are concerned, they can get you, they give these guys a lot of help, but
Right.
I don't know how he got caught this short, man. Oh, that is an embarrassment to have Sioux Falls come in. And next week, you see who they got?
No.
Northern Iowa
Ooh.
the
Here or there?
from the down up here.
Okay.
Northern Iowa, September 7th, because they were down at Northern Iowa already once, I think. But Northern Iowa from the very tough Missouri Valley Football Conference, which is home to North Dakota State and South Dakota State and South Dakota and all those boys. If yesterday was a true indication of the Tommies, they should have ambulances on the sideline waiting for that one. If they're that bad, that was incredible.
What is
Not
your
the worst news of the day though. The Gaudreau brothers.
Oh God,
they're getting run over by a drunk in New Jersey. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother who played too, and a big star at Boston College, great big star in the NHL. Supposedly the greatest kid ever. He won the Lady Byng one year, right?
Yeah,
I think I saw that.
And his sister,
his sister getting
the marriage
married
was today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what a brutal story.
And according to what I read, they're riding their bikes on the side of this country, kind of rural road.
Yep.
So the car moves over, and some idiot behind them, when the other car moves over, is drunk and drives on the right side to pass the guy that's moving over, and mows them both down and kills them. So, wow, what a horrible story, man alive.
Absolutely.
He was at Columbus now, right?
Yeah, spent the last couple of years there.
Wow, and he won the national title for him at BC, right?
Yeah, and he was the Hobie, and he won the Hobie Baker, and I mean it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely awful.
I did. I texted Bob Motzko and asked him if he was ever close, if this kid was ever on any of his teams, because he did a lot of junior and he didn't. But boy, drunk driver killing two people has got to hit home close to home for Bob, man.
That's what I was going to say with Mac.
That's awful.
That's what, 3 years ago now?
And then Mac, and then Mac's sister's boyfriend. Yeah. 3 years ago, July 24th, 3 years ago.
I can't
That
imagine.
guy, they only put him in jail for 7.5 years and he can get out. And I think he only has to serve 5 of it or something like that. So that's this guy, the guy who ran down the Gaudreaus will hopefully be in jail for the rest of his life. What a deal. God, that's terrible.
Yeah, and the families and the parents. I mean, I can't even imagine.
God. Yeah, I guess he's just a great kid. So not that it makes any difference. Even if he was a bad kid, he had little kids too, right? Didn't I read? He had
2 little kids.
Oof, man,
Yeah.
What a deal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and you go biking, like he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, it's no, it's probably a nice country road and biked down it a lot of times, and you don't know where they are. We had that. Did you see that thing a couple of weeks ago where the idiot driving the truck with logs on it came up and this guy had a bunch of other violations, driving overweight and all this stuff out of a big old truck, and he plowed into a whole family up in Duluth, up in the woods up there someplace, and killed about 4 people. He'll probably get out with about a 60-day sentence or something like that. But he was just one of these crazy drivers who just was going way too fast, and there was the traffic stopped down, and he came up behind him, and he damaged a bunch of cars, but he killed 3 or 4 people. I think he killed the whole family. So
no, I didn't see that.
It's dangerous out there. You know what? As a driver, I'm not saying I'm as aware on the side as everything, but I have become the not follow close guy, man. I keep 50 feet between me and the guy ahead of me, even when we're going 30, which of course upsets the youthful people who come
swerving around
up and pull in, and they
that's
get
the problem.
in front of you because Now you've passed one car, buddy. This is going to get you back. This is going to get you through the tunnel a lot faster and over to St. Paul or over to 394. Passing that one car is really going to help out. So
Yep.
there's a lot of crazy, angry drivers out there right now. Now I will cast an aspersion
Mhm.
profanely if someone slows down when a light's green, because in anticipation that it might change, that does drive me crazy.
Yeah.
No, if it's still green and you have room, speed up a little bit
Yeah.
to make sure you make it. But anyway, that was the Johnny Gaudreau thing is bad deal for I mean, the NHL as we're getting started. Well, hell, we're only about 2 weeks away from a week away from training camp or something.
Wild
10
is the
days.
18th of September, so a couple weeks.
Oh, a little later. But do they have the rookies in beforehand or something?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
Mhm.
Perhaps a couple of days.
But Chip and I had dinner with Scoggins. I mean, with Leopold and Guerin, as courtesy of my brother-in-law, who is in the Dunkers, and they offer things to people to bid on to raise money they give the money to Minneapolis School of Athletics, and Chaz is a Dunker, and so Leopold paid to have the dinner with Chip and I at just to be a good guy, and we were at Murray's the other night, but I said, Garen, what's the deal here? Every other league, in baseball, they come down, they spend 10 days getting loose before they play a game. And football, we have 3 weeks. So you guys report on Tuesday, you scrimmage on Wednesday, and you're playing a game on Friday. What's the deal? I don't know. I don't know what the hurry is,
Yep.
but it is astounding to me that how what because it's such an up and down game, you just don't need a lot of practice time. I don't get it.
It's always struck me as weird that they don't have more, and I'm not saying a lot more, but like 4 days of ramp up, right?
Yes.
They basically, you're right. They scrimmage and then they go play and they break up the teams. And
Yeah.
I don't know that they need as many exhibition games as they play either.
Well, as long as they're selling tickets, that's the
Yeah, that's
thing.
probably true.
I think the Wild still do 4, right? I think they still do 4 home ones. Maybe they reduced it to 3.
I think it's 3, and then I think they might have a 4th one on the road, but it's their home game.
Yeah, kind of like Iowa,
Something like that.
Iowa or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
Des Moines, something.
Duluth, something.
Hey, so what's your confidence that the local ball club can bounce back from this horrendous stretch that we've seen?
Well, I was contemplating writing about that, but then other things occurred. But it is amazing. You win the first 3 in Texas, you squeeze them out. Really, defiant victories almost. I mean, they just fought back in 2 of those, and when you thought they were going to lose, and then everything's glorious that Sunday. So that would be now 12 days ago, going into tonight, and you're ahead 4-0 going into the 7th. Alcala has been great. You got Alcala lined up, Jack's lined up, and Duran lined up, and you haven't kicked away a game all year.
Yep.
And Alcala gives up those 19 pitches will live in infamy. He gives up 5 runs, and since then, 8 out of 10, and they've been figuring out ways to lose. They have really, all the ways, all the time. They went 3.5 months figuring out ways to win, and now they're figuring out ways to lose. And Boston's 3.5 behind them.
Yeah, Boston
But
lost.
it's not going to make any difference if I think they really have the potential. What do they got left? They're how many? 31, maybe 31 left. I think 31 left, maybe. I figured it out the other day. Maybe less than that. I don't know. There are 30 left. But if you're going to go 12 and 18, it doesn't make any difference, And I don't know how they get out of this, because Here, we've talked about this the other day, but Buxton, well, he might be back. He might be back. Well, he might come back, but it's going to be 3 days, right? I
Mhm.
mean, he's last time he had a bad hip. He was playing. He had a very good season going,
Mhm.
2022, and he missed the last 2 months with the hip. And I said this the other day. When he took a swing and walked straight back into the clubhouse without saying anything, you knew that he'd done the same thing he did before, right, to his hip. And Correa's basically told him, this is my bad foot. I can't do it. So I don't know. Brooks Lee not coming this weekend apparently.
Till they expand
You know,
rosters,
yeah, which is
which I don't totally get, but
no.
why not get him back up here?
Really have to keep Eddie Julian, huh? Wow.
Right.
I don't get it, but
29 left, including
somebody
Fridays.
29. Somebody told me so that they were down. They were upset with him for some reason, Brooks Lee. That they were a
Yeah,
little, yeah, not.
I heard
I
the
don't know
same
what it.
thing. I
Yeah,
heard he didn't. What they didn't like is he evidently didn't inform them of the shoulder soreness until he had tried to play through it himself.
good for him.
But I
But
mean,
so
yeah,
he
it's
was
an athlete
trying to
thing.
play. God, we don't want one of those guys, do we? Uh, the guy they should be down on is Julian. I mean,
You think?
well, not just the way he plays, but also his lack of hustle.
Yeah.
When he hits a routine ground ball, he jogs. I'm not saying it's cost him many hits, but he's not a hard nosed. I kind of thought he was. He's not a hard nosed guy, and of course that was really the bad loss when he doesn't make the play on the grounder, and then he throws the double play ball away and hands that because they were going to win that game 2-1. There's going to be Duran, blah blah blah. But what do you? I don't know if Duran's hitting the wall, and he hasn't been as good. But
No.
I mean, the last 2 times he's just been bad, right? He's just been bad. So
Oh, the
I
last
don't
time
know.
out, yeah. I mean, he got hit hard.
Yeah, I mean Griffin Jackson's great, but I told you guys this yesterday. But it's great that you know Rocco went out of his way to tell us why he wouldn't use Griffin Jacks for a second inning last week or the other day when they were
San Diego.
yeah, the San Diego game where they were urinating that one away. And then that was awful. That was the worst loss of them all. Letting Oker pitch the eighth inning. By the way, he's back in St. Paul. None of them ever leave. You get rid of them and they all end up in St. Paul.
Well,
And
there's
then
a
you bring
reason
them
why
back.
they are they're DFA'd. It's not because teams are dying. Aside from the Twins, who pick up Michael Tonkin every time he gets
Yes,
DFA'd.
yes, yes. But and then he's talking Wednesday about how we might start using him too, Eddie.
I saw that.
Rocco, too late, Rocco. You already screwed that one up. So I don't know. I think they're rattled. I think he's rattled.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
I like him as a manager. I think a lot of fans like to get on him because analytics and all that stuff. That's not analytics. That's uh, here's my thought though. I think because okay, you make the playoffs, so what, right? You're not going anywhere. This collection is not going anywhere.
Mhm.
I think you should keep uh, relying on Festa and Matthews, and even when you have off days and stuff. I think this should be almost developmental for the
Mm.
for the starting rotation to try to develop starters. And if that guy at St. Paul Morris, who hasn't been pitching that good but was rising up the system, put Louis Varland in the bullpen and let that guy come up here and make a start.
And he's in the bullpen in St. Paul now.
Varland, yes,
I saw that.
but then he also pitched 4 or 5 innings, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be here when the rosters expand.
Yes.
But I think you can only go up one pitcher anyway, right? You can only go to 14, I think.
Yeah,
You're
it's
13
it's
now, but you can only go to 14, and you can only have 28. It's
right.
not the old. That was always a very odd thing about baseball, that your roster could go from 25 to 39. All of a sudden, you didn't have enough guy to be in the dugout. That was.
Yes.
And the Twins were always, of course, in the Calvin era. You'd look over in the other dugout, and the team would have 35 guys, and We might have 2 extra ones, 3. We didn't, we didn't believe in that paying that much meal money. Damn it, on the road. So buying tickets for all these guys to fly around commercial, we weren't going to do that. So I don't know. I mean, look at the team they're putting, and never put Manny Margot in the outfield again. God, what a butcher! What a hack!
In left, he's worse than
Left.
center. He's not good in
Yeah,
center.
Center, he's terrible. Well, remember in the left, he couldn't see the ball, right, when he was out there for a while because of any time
Yeah.
the sun
What was the
still
excuse
out.
2 nights ago?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. This time it
Flunked
hit
off
him
his
in the glove.
glove.
No, he's a bad outfielder, and he's they were going to sign Kiki Hernandez,
Yeah.
and then the Dodgers said, we're going to sign Kiki Hernandez, but you can have Margot if you need a right-handed hitter. So, so they gave him to us, and he's been okay against left-handed pitching, and
Yeah.
but I don't want him in the field.
He's a butcher, though.
Oh God, he's terrible. Mark Topkin from Tampa told me 2-3 years ago he's a pretty good outfielder, but then he just got bad. I don't know why. So
Well, he hurt his knee a couple of years ago in Tampa, and I guess he came back from that.
Maybe.
Was
he
what's
used
that?
to be able to run. He used to be able to run.
Yeah, and he came back and was not good in the outfield.
You know what we've had though? You know what we've had here in the last week? We had Rocco making his worst pitching decision of the year when the Oakert game. And then we had Tommy Watson making his worst coaching decision of the year when he decided to send Margot, when Margot basically was stopping after getting a lousy jump off second. I don't know what. It was like Tommy said, well, he should have been able to score on this. Yeah, but so I'm going to send him anyway. Because Soler is terrible at catching a baseball, but he's got a pretty good throw.
Yes.
That was a dumb decision.
Well, it cost him a run because what? Two guys.
It cost him the whole inning.
Yeah.
He scored.
There was another run to be had there.
There was nobody out yet.
Yep.
And they were still batting, and that could have been a 3 or 4 run inning.
Yep.
Against Chris Sale. Those don't come along very often.
But as we said a couple of years back, when Watkins, I believe, sent a guy on a potential sac fly, and Yasiel Puig was in right field for Cleveland, and the guy got gunned out by a million yards. As we said, there is nothing better than a third base coach who screws up.
Oh God, yes.
It's the greatest baseball conversation.
It is, because with all their analytics, they can't figure out how to overcome bad judgment.
Exactly.
Yes, it's and when to take a chance. The fact that the worst part of us is, if there's 2 outs, okay, try to send him. What the hell? But nobody out.
I know.
It was brutal. Bad third base coaches. So, hey, I should tell you to go out to Jim Paul and Brett Paul Valley Group of GM dealers, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should.
My guys, Labor Day weekend, always a big sales weekend, winding down the summer. If you're not at the lake, or even if you come back from the lake early, Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, Hastings and my guys in Apple Valley. I've been telling you, I've been going out there for 12, 15 years. I don't know how many cars I bought from them, 5 or 6. Plus, Reaver's got one from there, and my relatives have got used cars from there. It's really good. They'll give you a heck of a deal. And here's the deal. The interest rates are now low, 0.9, 1.9 select vehicles. And the factory rebates are back for the Buick SUVs, for the Sierra trucks, the big heavy-duty Sierra trucks that everybody wants. They got Yukons. They got everything right now. The stock for vehicles right coming out of the pandemic when we had the chip problem was a little low, but not now, not anymore. Everything you want in a vehicle is available right now at a good price, good interest rates. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley and Hastings.
Outstanding. So the Vikings start a week from Sunday, and I think we're sort of, Patrick, on the same page about this. There's a lot of people that think this team's going to stink, that think
I
this
know.
team's going to be terrible. I think you and I, who are not mostly the most optimistic people, I think we both think that they're going to be better than people expect.
Yeah, I think they're going to be 500, 500 being 8-9-9-8 for sure. And
Yep.
maybe better than that if they win the close ones. If they win some close ones. Their defense is going to be way better, I think, don't you?
Yes, I think it's going to be better.
I mean, I don't miss Daniel Hunter because I got the kid from Alabama who's going to be a monster. Yeah, who's going to be a monster, and you got some other kids. You got more depth back there than you have. And hey, they went and got Stephen Gilmore. You talk about the cornerbacks. Well, they got 3 crusty veterans now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys that have played in the league for a long time, and they're deep at safety now, and offensive line. There's about 25 clubs in the league that would trade tackles with you, don't you think? At least.
Oh God, for those two?
Yeah, maybe those.
And for
two.
Darisaw?
Yeah,
Yes.
Darisaw and O'Neal. So, and Bradbury's once in a while he'll run into a big fat guy who runs over him, but he's okay. I don't know. And do they like Ingram better than everybody else does? I mean, or do they just keep playing him because
I think they're tolerating him because they don't have a better option, but I don't think that I think they're definitely not in love with him, but they continue to give him chances. He played in that second preseason game, which surprised a lot of people because the rest of the starters didn't play, but I did not see him not take one snap. So he got every snap with the first team in camp.
Wow.
So he's the guy.
And left the other guard, Reisner, everybody was campaigning to get Reisner signed, and then he goes and gets hurt, right? So
and that Brandel was going to start because he can run block, and Reisner's actually good in pass protection, but according to the PFF, he's brutal as a run blocker.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
well, they're going to, unlike PJ, who's getting hell for running too much and not throwing the ball, we want Kevin to run the ball more now, right?
Right. Yes, we do.
Stop being
a little more balance.
Yeah, a little more balance. And I see our old pal Delvin Cook got a job in Dallas, maybe.
Yes, Zim is Zim the head coach in waiting?
Yeah, it's
a bunch of guys from his old days here going there.
Mm-hmm. It is funny though, man. He's how's he doing with the girlfriend? Has he still got the same girlfriend, or don't we know? Did she drop him after?
Don't know.
Fired his coach. But
that's a good question. I have no idea.
Maybe that's why he started coaching again. Maybe he lost it.
No, he started coaching again because his contract here ran out after last season.
I don't think he's short of dough, is he? I mean, he got plenty.
I think he wanted to. No, I think he wanted to get every last cent from the Wilfs, and then get back into coaching because it's in his blood.
He could have had a worse job. He could have been out. He was going to go out and consult with Dion, right? Wasn't that he was out there for about 3 days and went home, right? A couple years ago.
Was that true? Okay, I saw that report, but did you see who Dion's OC is out there?
Yes, Pat Shurmur. Pat, what's wrong?
How's Pat not in the NFL? He had a great year. He took Case Keenum and made him a Pro Bowler, basically.
Yes, yeah. I don't know how. And then he, it got him a head coaching job, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. How long did he last Cleveland? 2 years?
No, he was with Cleveland before here. He was with the Giants. I think it was 2 years.
2 years, yeah. Well, that's one thing about the Vikings. They get to open with the Giants, okay?
Yeah.
And it's a road game, right? So you get a road win right off the bat.
Yes.
You get a road win right off the bat. Giants are in complete chaos, apparently.
The Post, I'm sure, will have a field day regardless with Darnold, though, right? Going back there?
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. Oh, yeah. Every one of his crimes with the Jets will be repeated.
Yep. Mononucleosis.
What's your view on him?
I think at most he'll be okay. Mm-hmm. At best, I think at worst he'll be a complete train wreck, but I don't know, man. He had some good practices. He had some bad ones. I don't know. I think O'Connell This is going to be the greatest test of O'Connell being, the quarterback guy. This is going to be his greatest test.
Did we get Jaron Hall back, by the way, for the practice squad?
I haven't
or did
seen.
Somebody sign him.
I haven't seen. They admitted
waiting around. He might be waiting around to see if somebody will let him be the third quarterback. Huh? How
Brett
about
Rippon.
that, though?
Brett Rippon.
Yeah, well, the guy plays, lights it up in the preseason, and you don't even let him be the third team quarterback. I don't get it. Maybe he's too old. Maybe they don't like the fact that he's like 27. I don't know. But the Brett Rippon has been around forever too. What is that about? Who's the second teamer then? Him or Nicky?
O'Connell committed yesterday to Mullins for the first game, but then didn't say after that. I'm not convinced they're done shopping for quarterbacks.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not convinced. So O'Connell and Kwesi took a lot of heat last year, and Mark Wolf talked about this in March for not being more prepared when Kirk got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of what they're doing, first of all, I don't think that they trust Hall at all to play in the regular season. I think what they're doing is, I think they're trying to bring in more veteran guys, but I don't know that they're going to stop. I mean, I'm sorry, Brett Rippon, really? Come on. I think they're going to continue to look and see if they can actually get a guy to replace not just Rippon, but to put above Nick Mullins on the depth chart.
Remember when the practice squad was kind of fun? Eight guys,
Eight young guys
building for the future.
Now it's 16 guys my age, your age.
38-year-old guys on the practice squad. And you can have 17 or something like that.
It's 16, 17 if you sign somebody on that international program, and I believe 6 of them can be veterans. It's a taxi squad now.
And there's something about there's even more generous rules for the veterans, right?
Yes.
But are they getting a practice squad salary then or not?
Yeah, I think you get a practice squad. But then if you get one of the 2, I think it is, elevations on game day, I think you then get your game check.
Oh, okay.
Based on what you're supposed to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
But it's become a taxi squad. It is not a practice squad anymore. The practice squad was these young guys that were just trying to make it. That's gone.
Yeah. Well, wait a couple of years. This guy John Randall, he'll be a player. Look out.
What's going to happen when we get to 18 games? Is my question.
I don't know. It's
expanded rosters, I think, right?
Well, but then again, I was talking about this the other day. I told you guys this yesterday that Randy Johnson says that there's speculation that the Big Ten's going to 20, and then you'll have 4 or 5 team divisions, and then they'll have a 4-team conference playoffs. So so that'll be
14. You add games or subtract games?
Each division they'll have a 4-team playoff for the conference title, and then. So then you're up to 14, and then you got a 16-team. You're going to a 16. Eventually, it's going to be a 16-team playoff in about 2 years.
Yeah.
So you can play. They're going to have these guys play 18 games.
But wouldn't you take out non-conference games and replace the play?
Something? Well, but the schools that don't make the playoffs are going to want to, the 6.
Yeah.
16 out of the 20 aren't going to want to give up a home game. I mean, we're going to have 28,000 rabid fans there next week for Rhode Island. We don't want to give that up.
And they're going to beat them by 30, and PJ's going to get to the podium and tell you everything is fantastic.
Yes. What do you think of Max Brosmer? Max Brosmer lost over the Rhode Island last year, though. So
did he?
Yes. I'll have to get revenge on the, what are they? Rhode Island, what? I can't remember. All right. I'm heading to Lanesboro, Minnesota with John Millay today. Yeah. I'm doing a piece on Johnny. This is John's last year as the traveling man for the State High School League. So,
it's in his last year?
I think he's hanging it at the end of this year. So I'm gonna, what's it like to be driving in that rickety old vehicle with your picture pasted on it? So anyway, I'm riding down there with him.
Enjoy.
For a 9-man game in Lanesboro.
Say hi for me. John's a good man.
Oh, great headline writer, man.
He's one of the best we've had.
Yes. All right. See ya. Goodbye.
See ya. Bye.